So you've just got that big promotion at work and now you want to flash your extra cash on a new car. You've always liked the look of Porsche's 718 Boxster, but you need space for 4 inside, and you're not yet ready for a large SUV like Porsche's own Cayenne. No, what you need is something in between, something which keeps Porsche's sporty and luxurious character, but which also have enough space inside for the family, their luggage, and dear old Fido too. Welcome then to the world of the Porsche Macan. Now let's get this out of the way quickly because yes, the Macan does cost a lot more to buy than many other cars of this size. That said, it's going up against some truly premium competition. Cars like the Range Rover Evoque, Audi Q5, BMW X3 and Mercedes-Benz GLC. There are 5 flavours of Macan to choose from, and the entry-level option shares its 2-litre petrol engine with Volkswagen's Golf GTI hot hatchback. Then there's the Macan S, which gets you a punchy 3-litre petrol engine. It's pleasantly fast and refined, but it does need to be revved hard to deliver its best performance. Then there's this, our favourite Macan S diesel. You get a 3-litre diesel engine which pulls strongly from low revs. It feels relaxed and rapid and works well with the Macan's standard 7-speed automatic gearbox. If you plan on spending a bit more, then the Macan Turbo is absolutely rapid, offering pace more akin to a sports car than an SUV, but that performance comes at a hefty price. The same can be said of the Macan GTS and the range-topping Macan Turbo Performance Pack. Now, given the Macan's nature, you can perhaps forgive the fact that its ride is a little firm around town, but it's never uncomfortable and it really settles down at speed, giving you a pleasant experience, especially on the optional air suspension. Now, if you can, we'd recommend upgrading to Porsche's Active Suspension Management System, or PASM for short. Do this and you get a button on the centre console which allows you to stiffen the Macan springs, thus reducing body movement. There's also another button on the centre console marked Sport. Press it and the accelerator, gear change, steering and suspension systems are all turned up to 11, and in this mode the Macan is the best handling SUV you can buy. For all its sportiness though, the Macan can still be a relaxing cruiser. There's very little wind noise on the motorway, and while there is some tyre roar at higher speeds, it's never overly irritating. You sit low down inside the Macan, giving you the feeling of sitting in a sports car. You should have no trouble getting comfortable either, because you get standard electric seat adjustment and this steering wheel adjusts for reach as well as for height. It's a shame though that you have to go all the way up to the Macan Turbo to get adjustable lumbar support as standard. For the rest of the range, it's only available as part of a 4-figure comfort pack. Now, in terms of visibility, the Macan offers a good view out of the front. You can clearly see where everything is, and these wide door mirrors aid you when looking around corners or changing lanes on the motorway, or for seeing around junctions. You get front and rear parking sensors as standard, which is handy because that high rear window makes it difficult to see out of the back. If you need more help with parking, then a reversing camera is also on the options list. Just from looking around this interior, you can see the quality. There are no corners cut here and all of the materials on display feel great. You don't need to spend a fortune on full leather upgrades either, because the standard leatherette and Alcantara upholstery we've got in here looks and feels great, even among the Macan's rivals. If we're nitpicking, there are 1 or 2 areas we would change. This drop-down bit of plastic here is a bit flimsy to cover the CD card slot and the SD card slots, and I'm not sure this cascade of buttons on the centre console will be to everyone's tastes, because when you're moving along it can be a bit difficult to find what you're looking for. Overall though, the Macan feels every inch the premium SUV. Every Macan gets this colour touchscreen, and through it you can control all of the usual audio and navigation functions. Now, the standard equipment list includes a DAB radio, Bluetooth connectivity and a USB socket, and it all sends out sound through 11 speakers. You do have to pay extra for satellite navigation on anything below the Macan Turbo though, and you'll always have to fork out extra for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, which is a little stingy given that there are far cheaper SUVs which include the system as standard. Now let's see how easy this system is to use. Now, when you're on the move, it all seems to work pretty well, but some of these buttons can be a little bit hard to hit when you're driving along. Let's also see how easy it is to set a destination in the sat-nav. So if I navigate to nav, enter the search box, I'm going to head for our offices in Twickenham. So if I start typing it in, there you go, it's got Twickenham already. If I select that, it's going to have a think. Let's head for the centre of town. It's 12.7 miles away and it's going to start navigating my route. Let's just give it a minute. Let's click start. And there we go. Now the default here is fast, but you can select economical and other such criteria like that as well. And there we go. It's calculated the route. The display of the map is very clear and you can zoom in and out as you would expect to. Now, one of the other things we might want to do if we're going to turn this Macan into a mobile office is connect our phone via Bluetooth. So I'm going to hit the phone button. It's going to ask me to connect my phone via Bluetooth, search for a new phone. Bluetooth is on, so let's see how easily it can find it. There we go, it's found my phone. So let's give that a go. It says connecting. Confirm the Bluetooth code. Yes, that's the same. Perfect. And let's see, there we go. I can now make and receive calls and do all of the usual functions you can do over Bluetooth, but crucially, I can do it using the car rather than looking at my phone. The Macan's extra trick though is this part digital instrument cluster. This screen can show you all of the usual trip information, fuel economy, range and so on, but it can also display the navigation map, putting your route right in front of your eyes, although despite being useful, it's not as good as the virtual cockpit display you get in Audi's Q5. And if you want to connect your phone via USB, then there's a socket handily hidden away under this center armrest. If I do that and connect my phone, it's going to ask me if I want to use Apple CarPlay. Let's turn that on. Let's accept all the terms and conditions and see how long it takes to load up. There we go. Unlock my phone to start using Apple CarPlay. Perfect, and I now have access to my Spotify music library. I can send texts, I can phone people, basically do everything I'd be able to do on my mobile phone, but crucially while using the car rather than driving along with my phone in my hand. Even very tall drivers like me will have no trouble getting comfortable here in the front of the Porsche Macan. These seats are nice and wide and supportive, and there's plenty of space dotted around for all of your odds and ends. These door bins are nice and large, and you get two cup holders here in front of the center armrest, and there's also a traditional glove box too. Now those sitting in the rear of the Macan do get a slightly raw deal, especially if you're a larger passenger like me, because with this seat set as I would have it as a driver, there's not a massive amount of legroom back here, and indeed there is less legroom in the Macan than there is in the majority of its rivals. And there's also plenty of space dotted around for your odds and ends. There's another 12-volt power supply down here. Each of these door bins will take a small water bottle, and if I pull down this central part, there's an armrest with two more cup holders. The Macan's boot isn't the biggest in this class, but it is usefully square. There's easily enough room inside for a couple of suitcases or for a large load of shopping. It's pretty clever too, because you get little extras like this small underfloor storage area. There's another 12-volt power supply over here, and over here another recessed area with a cargo net. And just above that cubby, if you've gone for air suspension, you also get these two buttons. So let's imagine you've just come back from a walk with Fido and he needs to get in the car, and he's a little bit old, so his knees don't work. So if you press these two buttons, and the whole car lowers on air suspension, making it a lot easier to either get bulky items or Fido into the boot. And when you've finished, you just press this button and the whole car raises itself back up. You also get this electric powered tailgate as standard. If you find yourself in need of more space, then the rear seats split and fold, and when folded away they create a flat, large loading area for bulkier items. The Macan is an expensive choice, and don't go expecting a discount from your Porsche dealer either. In fact, like most Porsche owners, you'll want to take a good long look at the options list and decide which extras are for you. The S models may be low on the Macan scale, but come with everything you're likely to need, including 18-inch alloy wheels, leatherette and Alcantara seats, cruise and climate controls, parking sensors, automatic lights and wipers, the touchscreen infotainment system and a powered tailgate. And while the turbo gets more kit, including PASM, lumbar support, sat-nav and a larger fuel tank, it does cost a lot more to buy. It feels every inch the prestigious SUV, and while there are roomier options out there, the Macan fills its brief of being a sports SUV perfectly. If you're looking for a car of this size that's also fun to drive, look no further. Now for plenty more on the Porsche Macan, including our full online review, head to whatcar.com, but before you go anywhere, click subscribe.